At first, everything feels easy. You meet her, you start talking. There's no pressure, no expectations, no overthinking. You're just being yourself, present, relaxed, natural. And that's exactly why things start working. Because at that stage, you're not trying to control anything. You're not trying to impress her. You're not trying to win her over. You're simply interacting, and that creates space. Space for attraction to build, space for curiosity, space for her to move towards you. But then, something changes. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, subtly. You start to care more. You start thinking about her more often. You start replaying conversations. You start looking at your phone a little more, waiting for her message, wondering when she'll text. And without realizing it, your focus begins to shift from your life to her. And that shift is where everything begins. Because when your focus changes, your behavior changes. And when your behavior changes, the dynamic changes. At first, it's small things. You reply faster. You initiate more. You try to keep the conversation going. You invest more energy, more attention, more effort. And none of that seems wrong. In fact, it feels like the right thing to do. Because in your mind, if you care about someone, you should show it. If you like someone, you should give more. But here's the part most people don't understand. Attraction doesn't grow from effort alone. It grows from balance, from emotional positioning, from the way two people interact. And once that balance starts to shift, everything else follows. Because while you're increasing your investment, she's observing, she's feeling, she's reacting to that change. Not consciously, but emotionally. And the more your behavior becomes centered around her, the more predictable you become, the more available, the more focused. And that removes something critical: uncertainty, tension, space, the very things that create attraction. So slowly, without any clear moment, she begins to feel different. Less curiosity, less engaged, less drawn in. And that's when she starts pulling away. Not because you did something obviously wrong, but because the dynamic no longer feels the same. And this is where most men make the biggest mistake. They notice the distance, and they try to fix it. They text more. They ask what's wrong. They try to reconnect. They try to bring things back to how they were before. But the more they try, the worse it gets. Because now, their behavior is no longer natural. It's reactive, driven by fear, driven by the need to not lose her. And that energy is visible, not in what they say, but in how they show up. More urgent, more invested, more focused. And she feels it. Because attraction is not logical, it's emotional, it's instinctive, it's based on how someone makes you feel. And when someone feels like they are losing control, they don't become more attractive, they become less. So she pulls away even more, takes longer to reply, gives shorter answers, shows less engagement. And now the gap is clear. What used to feel easy now feels forced. What used to flow now feels heavy. And the natural reaction is to try harder, to fix it, to regain what was lost. But that's exactly what pushes her further away. Because the problem is not what you're doing now. It's the dynamic that has already changed. And until the change is back, nothing else will work. So what actually needs to happen? Not more effort, not more attention, not more trying. What needs to happen is a shift, a reset, a return to the state you were in at the beginning, before you became reactive, before you made her the center of your focus, before you started trying to control the outcome. Because at the beginning, you had something powerful. You had independence. You had presence. You had emotional stability. You were not attached to the result. And that's what made the interaction feel real, natural, attractive. So the solution is not complicated, but it is difficult. Because it requires you to do less, to pull back, to stop over-investing, to stop reacting to every small change, to focus on your own life again, your priorities, your direction, your growth. And when you do that, something interesting happens. Not immediately, not as a trick, but as a natural consequence. The pressure disappears. The dynamic begins to rebalance. Your energy changes. You become calmer, more grounded, less reactive. And that's when attraction has space to return. Because now, you are no longer chasing. You are present again. And presence is what creates real connection. But here's the most important part. You don't do this to get her back. You do this because it's the only way to stay in control of yourself. Because the moment your emotional state depends on someone else, you lose your position, not just with her, but with anyone. So when she pulls away, it's not a signal to chase. It's a signal to observe, to understand, to adjust. Because attraction is not about doing more. It's about knowing when to step back. And that's the difference between losing her and keeping your position.